Hey everyone, Mr. Payne on Thursday, September 19th, homework problems. Number one, we did together in class. Remember, we converted 4.5 quarts of lemonade to, it ended up being 144 fluid ounces. Now we're gonna do number two. We wanna figure out how many yards are in 2.5 miles. So the first thing we wanna do is, we'll make a table of miles and feet. And we know that 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. We want to know how many yards are in 2.5 miles. So the first thing we're going to do is convert 1 mile to 2.5 miles. That way I can convert 5,280 feet to the number of feet in 2.5 miles. So 1 mile is 5,280 feet. In order to go from 1 to 2.5, I can multiply 5,280 by 2.5, but I'll go in smaller steps. So if we double 1 mile to 2, we would double 5,280 to 10,560. And we'll cut 1 in half. So 1 will be cut in half by dividing by 2. We'll divide 5,280 by 2, and that would be 2,640. So now if I add these two rows together of equivalent ratios, I can come up with that last row for the number of feet for 2.5 miles. So if I added 10,560 to 2,640, I would get 13,200. And now, because I'm converting feet to yards, I would have to divide the number of feet by 3. So you might think, well, if I had 3 feet and I divided that by 3, that would equal 1 yard. If I had 6 feet and I divided that by 3, 6 feet would equal 2 yards. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's why I'm dividing it by 3. So when I divide 13,200 by 3, I'll let you do the work on that, but I'll give you the answer. It ends up coming out to be 4,400. And the number of yards inside of what ends up being 2.5 miles or 13,200 feet would be 4,400. Okay, the next one is has to do with the Martinez family. 3/4 of a gallon of orange juice. How many cups would 3/4 of a gallon be? So we want to start off with our table. If we look at our table, we know that 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So we're going to work from gallons to cups here. What we're really trying to do is go from gallons to then quarts to then pints to then cups. So it's going from largest measurement to smallest. And what we'll do here is, if we know 1 gallon is 4 quarts, we want to know how many quarts are in 3/4 of a gallon. So it's like changing this 1 to 3/4 by multiplying it by 3/4. And that means in 3/4 of a gallon, there would be 3 quarts. Okay? So we know in 3/4 of a gallon, that would be 3 quarts. Now, I want to convert the 3 quarts to pints. So if 1 quart is equal to 2 pints, 3 quarts would be equal to 6 pints. So now I know 3/4 of a gallon is the same as 3 quarts and 6 pints. And now that I know 1 pint is equal to 2 cups, I should know that 6 pints would be equal to 12 cups. Okay, so all these are you going from the biggest measurement and working your way down to the smallest measurement. The only information I had in that whole problem was that there were 3/4 of a gallon of whatever it is, orange juice. So I take that 3/4 of a gallon, I kind of match it up with my gallon on here, and then go to equivalent measurements from greatest to lowest. Okay, and then the last one, the grand piano. It says the grand piano weighs 1/2 ton. How many ounces can a grand piano weigh? So a grand piano is 1/2 ton. So I look here, I'm going to go from tons to pounds to ounces. So tons is the biggest one, then pounds, and then ounces. And I know that the grand piano weighs 1/2 ton. So I want to find out how many pounds are in 1/2 ton. Well, if you know there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton, and inside 1/2 ton would be 1,000 pounds. Okay, and now I want to convert from pounds to ounces. So if I know there's 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces, 1,000 pounds is going to be equal to 16,000 ounces. And just like I'm multiplying them both by 1,000, just like equivalent ratios. Okay, so 1/2 ton would be 1,000 pounds, and it also would be 16,000 ounces. okay? We'll work through these. We'll do some more practices. Don't worry about it. Use these to kind of help you. You're trying to convert from large measurements to smaller ones. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.